Hello, happy Monday, start of a new vlog, very exciting. I'm gonna try something a little bit different this vlog. I'm not going to necessarily cut it off on Wednesday like I've been doing the past few vlogs. I'm going to theme this vlog. And by theme it, I mean like I'm gonna set certain books that I want to finish. Woo, and that's what this vlog will follow. So, I am interested in reading this week. Not this anymore. I have DNF'd this. I am about, where are we? Page 210. Almost 50% of the way through, and it's not working. It's not working. The plot is murky. Everything feels half-baked. I feel no emotional attachment to any of these characters. We spend entirely too much time with the main character, and everything just seems super haphazard. World building, with the exception of the magic system, because I still don't, I did not understand the magic system. I'm 210 pages in, and I still don't fully understand the magic system. But the world building and just like how things were described was really beautiful. But then in crucial moments, she kind of just like sped through stuff. So I am DNFing this. I will not be continuing on with the series, which kind of sucks because I was really anticipating this one and like really hoping I would love it, but alas, not a thing. And what's unfortunate is I decided this last night after I took a Bookstagram photo that was going to be my weekly TBR insert photo here, and this book is there, so that's awkward. Let me take out that bookmark so that doesn't get thrown over there. But for this week, right? The Toll. Since I'm no longer reading Kingdom of, what's that called? Kingdom of Souls, I'm going to dedicate that brain space to The Toll. I'm also going to read The Voting Booth this week, or however long it takes me to complete these books, and thus this vlog. Made no reading progress. I just read that they recovered Naya Rivera's body from the lake where she went missing. So that kind of just eviscerated any feeling of reading, honestly. Wow. Yeah, I guess you could say I was a fan. I was a fan. You know, I watched Glee when it was on. I still have a good majority of the soundtrack, and the character that Naya Rivera plays, Santana, was one of my favorite characters on the show. And so that's just rough, especially considering she is leaving behind a 4-year-old little boy who no longer has a mom. So I've not done any reading today. Maybe I will be in the mood to read later on. I don't know. It's 9:30 p.m. So yeah, that's that is where I'm at right now. And I will check in either after I've recorded something or when I've made some progress in one of the books that this vlog is actually. It is Tuesday. I can't remember if I updated you about my progress in The Toll, because I did read some of it. Wow, I really don't remember. Okay, let's say I didn't. I didn't get up to where I wanted. I didn't get up to where I wanted to, but I got pretty close. What I'm noticing with Mr. Schusterman's writing, and I noticed this with Scythe, and I noticed it with Thunderhead, mostly with Scythe. Thunderhead like had me from the beginning and did not let me go. He has a very particular writing style that's very, I don't want to call it clinical, and I guess for this particular book it makes sense, just the world that he's built, and just like what the Thunderhead is, you know, this is all powerful, not all powerful, but like all-seeing technological being that lives in the sky. And so I guess that's a perspective he writes the entire series from, and this isn't a spoiler. That's the perspective he kind of writes from. Not that you're always with the Thunderhead, but if the Thunderhead is always with the characters, and we bounce from different characters, and I feel like we as the reader are the Thunderhead. I don't know if that made any sense. It did in my head, so I'm going with it. And so with that, I'm not gonna say, I don't want to say it's not the easiest to read, because once you start reading, it's so easy to just keep going. And I think also what helps with that is the short chapters. So his writing style combined with the short chapters, it's just interesting. I think my issue that I'm having with the Toll, I still have not gotten to that point in the book where I have to know what happens next. And that kind of sucks. You know, we're almost 200 pages in and I don't feel that like urge to know what happens next. I have to know. We reached the quarter mark of the book. If we reach, you know, 30% and I don't care about what's happening, you've got to go. I care once I'm reading, but not before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not pulled to pick this up. Like, if this were a standalone, not based off of what happened, because it's, you know, it's a series, so there's like, you know, things. But if this were a standalone based off of what I'm saying right now, I would DNF if this were a standalone, right? But it's the end of a series, you know, he's tying up loose ends. I'm sure he's setting us up for something epic. And honestly, I'm writing off of how much I enjoyed Thunderhead. Like, I really enjoyed Thunderhead so much. I could not put that book down. It was so action-packed. So many things happened in that book. There's a part of me that literally wants to reread just that book. And not Scythe and not this one, but just Thunderhead, because that's how much I enjoyed it. And I had a feeling this one was not going to give me that same feeling, which is fine. I didn't really expect that because they're different books. And if all the books in a series can make you feel like that, that is incredible. And then also the voting booth. I split this into 4 sections. So maybe I'll try and read like a section a day. And the chapters are short because it bounces back and forth between Marva and Duke. I believe those are our main characters. Yeah, Marva and Duke. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I decided last night, after talking to someone who I was supposed to be buddy reading this with, but they finished like weeks ago and I've just been, I guess you could say, what's my bed doing? Anyway, like dragging my feet. And what I decided with their input is that I'm going to step away from the Toll for a bit, give it a week or two, because I'm 200 pages in and I'm not being pulled towards reading it and it's kind of frustrating me. And so we're going to pivot a bit. That looks, I hate the way that looks. Let me make my bed. Well, first I'm sending that fan back. Or I'm taking it back. I'm gonna get another one because it's just not doing what I need to do. And so I decided that I'm gonna pivot. I'm still gonna try and focus on the voting booth, which I've read none of, and it's, you know, already half the week. I hope to go out. My mom is still working. I think she gets off at 4. So we'll probably go out and return that fan. That's the cage. Return that, where is it? Boom, return the fan and then pick up the new one, and then hopefully make a kombucha stop because I think I drank the last one yesterday, so we need to stock up on kombucha as well. We've become like a kombucha family. It used to just be my dad, and then I decided to try some flavors that maybe I would like, and yeah, and now my mom is drinking it, so it's been a fun time. Alrighty, so for my mom, we are going to return that fan. It just wasn't doing what I needed to do. I was like fine when I was sitting, kind of, but when I would move around in my room, I'd become hot, and like that's not, I'm not gonna pay $80, $100 for a fan, and then when I move in the room that you're supposedly cooling, I sweat. We're not about that. So I bought another one. That's also, we have to pick it up. It's still the same brand, but it's not a tower fan. Those are always iffy. It's not a tower fan. It's like it's a Vornado. So it has the Vornado big thing on the top and then just has one leg. And those things are really, really powerful. At least the one that my mom has. So this is just that one, but with some legs. But I do have some book mail. I believe...
Wait, are these books? Or is this something?
This is not... These are not books. Man, I I forgot I had another package coming. I was really hoping that this would be books. I know it's not. Why am I opening it? I don't know. Yeah, not books. Alrighty, I've done no reading because I got a headache and I took a nap on my bed and then I woke up and now I'm in the car. That's my reading progress. I will say, I finished editing and uploading my June wrap-up. So that is something that's great. I did that like almost as soon as I woke up. So that is awesome. I've done no schoolwork. I've done nothing. That nap really just, it's almost as if I woke up late. But I'm not gonna be mad at myself. I'm trying to be more forgiving of myself and just like listening to my body, because I did have a headache. I had a headache and it was like one of those painful ones. So I was just like, I don't really want to be awake for this, but yeah. Okay, now time for some actual book mail. Alrighty. I know exactly what this is. Perks of like it being Amazon. It's the next two books in the, is it Rose? It's not Rosewood. That's Pretty Little Liars. Ravenswood series. Boom. This is actually the third book. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I want to drop everything I'm reading and read these right now, but I'm trying to practice self-control. Ooh, this is a little thick. This is a bit thicker. This is way thicker. Happy Thursday. I'm not just waking up. It is almost 4 o'clock. I've been up for like 2 hours, I think. What is this? Okay. Plans for today. No coffee today because we are out of ground, well, not out of ground coffee, we're out of the ground coffee. That's my favorite now. And so that's on its way. I contemplated ordering Starbucks, like Uber Eats. I might actually look into that because I don't want to start my day off with an energy shot. I usually use these as a backup, like when I've already had coffee and like I'm crashing or my energy is waning, and then I'll take like, you know, I'll drink half of this, or maybe I'll just go the whole day without coffee. That's also a thing. I can focus on my water intake and drink this kombucha, and we'll see how that goes. I'm super hungry. My dad's doing a training. He's working from home today, so I'm gonna wait until he's done and then I'm gonna make some food. We have some samosa dumplings that I got from Green Organic Market, and I'm really excited. They're not gonna be like super flaky because they're samosa dumplings. I think they're still gonna be good. Either my dad or my brother ate some because one of the packages is open, so I have not heard any complaints yet. Not that I would, but also I hit 1,000 subscribers on, no, lies. I hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, I think day before yesterday, so on Tuesday. And so I'm hosting a giveaway. By the time this video comes out, it'll be over because I'm closing it. Today's Thursday. I'm closing the giveaway on Saturday. And yeah, that's like super exciting. I think when I hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, because it's taken me like such a long time to do that, I think that's a milestone where I'll do another giveaway. At the time of me recording this, I think we're at 397. So thank you to everyone who's already subscribed, and if you're not, you should be subscribed. I did indeed end up ordering Starbucks. I was just yawning too much. I was yawning too much. I was like, we're not doing this. And again, I didn't want to take an energy shot because I just like coffee better. But yeah, the giveaway is going nicely so far. I have no reading updates. I'm just at this point updating you on life. So I am 19 pages into the voting booth, and our main girl Marva needs to chill. She's too intense. She's super judgy, and it's just like, I get it. She's passionate about voting and democracy and making sure people can vote and voter suppression. But she's coming off real angsty and just like, I don't know. So the whole premise of the book is these two strangers, two teens, first time voters. It's election day. She's able to vote. He's not able to vote. There's some like mix up or whatever. And he's just like, oh yeah, I'll go. after school or whatever, and she's like,
"You can't wait that long. How do you know? Da 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 da. Don't you care about democracy? I won't let anyone throw away their vote."
It's like, he didn't say he's gonna throw away his vote. Also,
It's none of your business?
and she's also like fighting with her current boyfriend because he doesn't want to vote because he feels like the two-party system is antiquated and it won't matter anyway. And so she's upset with him over that. And it's interesting, and I'm hoping, and probably because like I've written a play about election day, specifically 2016 election, and it followed two college students, but the same dynamic. The black girl voted, the black dude did not. And, you know, I just think, I'm hoping and praying that this book explores the right and the choice not to vote, especially with people of color, and it not just being a lazy thing or a, you know, ignorant thing. I would really love that conversation to happen in this book. I'm sure it will. Again, I'm 19 pages in. I just had to update you because this main character is real annoying. Alright, I'm a quarter of the way done with the voting booth. It's going well so far. Like I said before, Marva is very intense. They did briefly touch on that topic I mentioned before, and by they I mean Duke. He's hilarious. Out of the two of them, he's definitely my favorite. I'm looking forward to seeing how this journey unfolds and the remaining 75%. Yeah, so we're making progress. It took until like the end of the week for me to get to the voting booth, but we're making progress. Hopefully I read a lot more tomorrow, like during the day. All right, happy Saturday. I am up. I don't have any coffee. I think I won't buy any. I feel like I'll regret that decision. But I am halfway through the voting booth, and I think I can finish it today. If I like buckle down and like have 2 dedicated reading sessions, I think I can finish this today. What I'm enjoying about this so far is that I like how it's not info dumpy, but we still get a very clear and crystallized picture of Duke and Marva's background, and the author uses, Brandy Colbert, uses flashbacks to do that, or like chapters that are like about Ida, and Ida's Duke's little sister, just to give us insight to their life before the book started, and these really nice snapshot moments, and I'm really enjoying that. You also are beginning to see why Marva is so intense, and you know, how that came to be. I don't know how I feel about flashbacks in general. I think it really does depend on how they're done and how well they're done. And I think that Brandy Colbert is using them expertly in this because they're not, like, they're in the regular chapters, but I like how there are separate chapters, and they're short, separate short chapters dedicated to one aspect, one important aspect of each character's life. So you get a short chapter for Duke's sister Ida that gives you some backstory on his relationship with her. You get a short chapter on Marva's cat Selma and just like what was happening in her life that led to her getting a cat. You get some backstory on Marva's boyfriend Alec. So I'm really enjoying it so far. Right now it's a strong 4 stars. I'm still waiting for a deeper conversation about the choice not to vote. I get that it's a book about young people voting, and I think that's important, but I also think, and this is of course the writer in me and just like writing a lot of academic articles, I think your case is always made stronger when you can pull up the other side and explore it authentically and do it justice, and then prove or say like, okay, now that I've shown you that, like, this is why I think my point is correct. And they like talked briefly about not voting. I want the conversation to be about not voting and people of color. Like, that's an interesting conversation to me, so that's what I'm looking for. They touched on it briefly. It was like half a page in a conversation, and I'm hoping that that was her planting seeds to then go back to that conversation later on in the book. I like how it is not such a singular focus, because nobody's life is like that. They have a goal, but then of course other things are going to get in their way. This gives me like YA romance vibes. I don't know why, probably because of the cover. I'm interested to see how that plays out, simply because Marva has a boyfriend at the start of the book. And I'm halfway through and she still has said boyfriend. So that's going to be interesting. It's very messy. They were in a messy spot before the book began. So yeah, lots of drama. It's messy, but it's a solid book so far. And my goal is to finish this today. I think it's possible. I know it's possible. Alrighty, I finished the voting booth. This is easily a very strong 4 stars. So let me try and recap some of the questions I had from the beginning. It's not insta-lovey. It's not a falling in love in one day, which I appreciated. There's definitely chemistry between the 2 main characters, Duke and Marva, but it's not like, oh my god, I'm in love. Also, that's not the main point of the novel. There are so many different things and so many different aspects that go into this. It is, you know, a journey to get Duke his right to vote, or not get him his right to vote, but get him a chance to exercise that right to vote. But there's also different elements that are happening that make them full fleshed out characters. You realize later on in the novel that Marva is so intense because she feels like nothing's going to get done, or she's just like so passionately involved in everything because she feels like she has to be. She feels like she has to constantly be on all the time. And I think that can also be attributed to the fact of the type of school she goes to. She goes to a predominantly white institution where she's one of 8 black kids, and she always has to be proving herself, always has to be on top of her game. And that transfers over into everything else that she does, because she's giving 120% to school and just existing as a black girl in this white environment. And so she just gives 120% to everything, even if it's super exhausting. This is also an interesting examination of grief in teens, because Duke's brother was killed, I believe 2 years ago, and he's still dealing with it. Him and his family are still dealing with it, dealing with how that affected his parents and their relationship, how it affected his little sister Ida. It's just interesting, and I guess there's one relationship I would have liked to see, would have liked to be explored more. There's this character Kendall in the book that Duke has a friendship with, and I would have liked that to be explored a little bit more, because I think there was something really interesting there. It's addressed and it's resolved, but we don't get a lot of it, like how we get a lot of backstory for Alec, who is Marva's boyfriend. So I would have liked to see a little bit of that. I will say this is like the perfect size. It comes in at a really nice, sweet 294 pages, and it's a very quick read. Also, look at the, just the spacing, so you're able to, really get through it and really just settle down. Oh my goodness, is this her cat? Marva has a cat in the story, so I think that's her cat. That's so cute. I also really love this cover. I also appreciate how it did not focus on just the presidential election, because that's not the only one that's important. It focused on the local election and the state elections, and that's what Marva's really going for, is getting people in her community out to vote for those people who will make her community better, as well as just laws and everything like that. It does not dig into the topic of why a person of color would not want to vote or would not care to vote. And I think that would have been an interesting twist. And perhaps that would have been a totally different book. You know what I mean? Because these are both 2 characters who are serious about voting. And I guess it wouldn't have been fair to explore that topic without having a character who staunchly believed in that premise. And so I would be interested in reading a book like that, honestly, where you have one who is super gung-ho about it and is super hey, voting, voting, voting. If you don't vote, you're trash, which is literally Marva at the beginning of this book. And then another character who's hey, I don't think I want to vote. I don't see the importance in voting. I don't feel like my vote counts. And that, I would read a book like that, because I think it's so interesting, and I think there's so much there. Oh, this is also, she talks about voter suppression very lightly, kind of. Very lightly. Again, it's a YA book, so like I'm not expecting it to go into the history of voter suppression and like the ways that it's happening, but it does show just how easy voting should be in all communities. So you have an instance where they go to a particular polling place and there's a super long line and they're talking to one of the people who's been there almost all day, and it's an older gentleman and he's saying how he got up early, he went to his local polling place and he found out that it was closed, like it was no longer a polling place, and how he wasn't made aware of that. And it was him, and it was because he lives in a senior citizens home, and so it was him and a bunch of his, you know, fellow people who live at this home, and that was their local polling place, and so that's where they went, and the home organized a bus for them and everything, and they found out when they got there that the polling place was closed, and no one told them that. No one gave them an updated address, and so they had to find their own ways of going to their new polling place. And so there's issues like that where there need to be multiple polling places so that polling places are not overwhelmed and you don't have these incredibly long lines and wait times, and just having the necessary supplies there to make sure that everyone there is able to vote and exercise that right. And what I found out, interestingly enough, is that some states have same-day registration, and in this, I don't know where they are. I really don't know where they are, but in the state that they're in, they have same-day registration, and only a few states have that. I don't know how many. I will hopefully look that up and put that someplace on the screen. I live in New York, and I don't think we have same-day registration. And I say that because around election time, and we just had our primaries in June, around a couple, like in April or May or whatever, well, I'm already registered to vote. So actually, I'll give another example. When I went to submit my absentee ballot back in June, there was a girl in front of me who was trying to vote, and she was told that she was not registered and she missed the deadline for registration. That leads me to believe that, like, we don't have same-day registration, at least for primaries. I don't know. I need to look that up. Like, it doesn't affect me because I'm already registered, but it's nice to know. You know what I mean? And also it's interesting because it's like, it's getting political. This clip is way too long. But I don't understand the point of registering to vote. Like, I feel like we should all, once you reach 18, it should be automatic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already in the system someplace. Like, my social security number is somewhere. I was born in the States. So I guess that's the only thing. Like, if you weren't born in the States, but even, it's just interesting. I just don't see the point of, like, having to register to vote. I just feel like if you live here, you should be able to vote. And you turn 18. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting because that just makes it one more step. Or several steps, depending on where you live and how their registration works and everything like that. But anyways, back to the book. Highly recommend. Solid 4 stars. I'm glad that I have a physical copy, because if you remember, I was supposed to be reading the arc of this, but that didn't happen, and then this arrived in the mail, so I just read this. I think those are my thoughts, my only thoughts, the fleshed out thoughts. It was fun doing this reading vlog. It was a little slow in the beginning, but I'm glad, you know, we turned it around. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, have you heard of The Voting Booth by Brandy Colbert? Did you read it already? Are you gonna read it? Are you interested in it? Do you know any books that deal with the topic that I was talking about before? Make sure you're subscribed and that you've pressed the notification bell so that you are notified every time I release a new video. Check out all of my social media, my blog, and my Goodreads profile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Showing, I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm in the sky.